So hi, my name is Dawn Z. Manafusco, and I am a life coach for writers and a book coach. So how many of you right now, just in your heart, know that there is something that you've started that you just wish you could finish? A lot of people start things. We start by doing research. We start by taking notes. We start by creating a vision in our notebook. We start by telling a friend or telling a loved one, someone, our secret on what we actually want to do. Maybe it's, maybe your dream isn't just to write a book and finish a book. Maybe it's just to write a poem and finish a poem and read it on stage. Maybe it's to write a short story. Maybe it's to take the short story or the articles and get them published. Maybe it's to start a blog. And you've started the process in some way. And when I say start, I'll repeat myself. You can be doing research. You can be telling people, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. But, I'm going to talk to those of you out there who have started to write a book or have started to write articles or short true stories. So when you are getting really, really close to the finish line, that's when the most resistance comes up. So why do people not finish? What is it that keeps people from finishing? What is it? So I started to look deeply into what is going on why we are afraid to finish. Number one, you probably hear it all the time. Fear of failure. Sure. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid you'll be criticized. You're afraid it'll suck. Who isn't afraid that it's going to suck? Who isn't afraid of criticism and judgment? I mean, most of us, especially art, especially writing, something personal that we've created, right? Something that we've created by ourselves most of the time, but we're afraid to fail. All right. Well, we've heard it 1,000 times. You've got to fail 1,000 times to get there, right? Thomas Edison failed lighting the light bulb. I'm sure the number is inaccurate, but they say it was something like 1,000 times before he lit it. And when he asked, what does it feel like to fail 1,000 times? He said, oh, I just thought it took 1,000 steps. All right, we know that. Fear of success. A lot of people go, I'm not afraid of success. Well, we are. Okay, this still isn't the number one. I'm just giving you some of the basics that we always hear, right? Fear of success. So something has to change if you succeed. If you fail, everything stays the same. Woohoo! I have failed so many times, and I have said things like, oh my God, do I really have to try this again? You wait it out, week goes by, you try again, and usually if you keep trying, you succeed. You can never fail if you do not quit. Write that down. You will never fail if you do not quit. So that's just a side note. I love that. I have that on my fridge. My coach tells me that very often in the last, 2 years I've been working with her. All right. The other reason we hear you're living someone else's dream. Lots of times when I work with my clients, is this the book you want to write? Or is everyone telling you you should write it? Okay. Do you want to write it? Do you want to do it? What is the dream? Is it your dream? It can't be your parents' dream. It can't be your brothers and sisters, your friends, your husband, your wife. It can't be society. It can't be the culture. We can go on and on and on and on. It has to be your dream. Your soul's purpose. What God put you here for and blessed you with. And that is an idea. It's a vision. It might be many visions. But there is a soul's purpose that you have, and you know what that is. And if you don't, a way to kind of grasp it is go back to when you were little. What did you do great when you were little? What did you love to do when you were little? What did you say you were going to do? And I always loved writing poems and songs, writing little stories, and then I would put I get my parents and my grandparents to sit on a couch, and I would recite to them. And then when they were like, okay, we got to go back and do our stuff, I would get my stuffed animals and I would sit them out there and I would teach them. And I would teach them poetry and read them poetry and tell them stories. And so here I am. I'm pretty much living into my soul's calling, which is writing, speaking, coaching. Great. But I had to go way back. and figured that out. And like 10 years ago, I hired a coach that helped me, unravel that dream. So in order to really finish what you start, you have to love what you're doing, and it has to be for yourself. Okay. So now let's say that you know that you are meant to write. You know that, or fill in the blank with whatever it is. This is a message to everyone. You know you want to finish a book. You know it. You know it like you know your name. You dream about it, think about it, author of. You can see it. You don't even need to, pimp it to a publishing company anymore. You throw it up on Amazon. Take seconds. Author of. You know it. It's your dream. You even know what you want to write about. Most of the time, people have the book they're writing so that they could get to the next book. I get that a lot. You helped me finish my book. Oh my God. I finished it in 6 months. Oh my God. You've helped me finish. Okay, now I get to write the book I want to write. I usually get that, which I think is awesome. We all do that. We all have something we're doing so that we can get to the next one, because we have lots of ideas. So, if you're a painter, you might be painting something so that you can get to the next painting. It's good to stay present, and you must work on one thing at a time. But okay, you're a writer. You've got 1 or 2 books in you. You're still not finishing. Well, you failed before, and you've gotten back up. You've succeeded at some things. You don't mind change. Success doesn't scare you. You're living your own dream, not somebody else's. And you're still not finishing. A couple of things are going on here. 1, when it comes to writing a book, and again, you could fill this in with anything, but when it comes to writing a book, you got to ask yourself, are you a control freak? Are you the kind of person that has to know exactly what's going to happen when you're done with that book? What is the results? What's the results I'm going to get? What do the people want? What's going to happen? How long is it going to be? How many chapters is it going to be? Am I going to publish it myself? Am I going to get a publisher? Do I need an agent? Do you think that you need to know all those answers, especially the one that will never be answered in 1,000 million bajillion years, which is, what will happen when I'm finished? Now, if you get stuck there, I hate to tell you, but you're a control freak. You're holding on to control of something you have no control over. Steve Jobs said it the best. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. You have to finish to see the magic and to feel the magic of what happens when you finish a project. There's no way to know the future. There's no way you can know what is really going to happen. And you know what usually happens? More and better than you've ever imagined. So, okay, we figured it out. You're a control freak. That's still not what's stopping you from finishing. Okay, so let's see. I've got a couple of notes here. Oh, you tell yourself a bunch of excuses, right? Here's one. Here's a couple. I have no time. That's not true. I'll do it later. You're giving yourself an excuse. This is boring. It's not my thing. If you hear yourself saying that, that's resistance. You can hear about it in Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art. Oh, I meant to, but I forgot. Oh, I totally was going to do that today, and I forgot. That's resistance. I just can't get going. I can't start. That's resistance. But usually we can start. It's the finishing that's harder. Or this is taking too long. So these are all excuses that we make. And we think they're real. We really do think they're real. So no, none of that is stopping you. All that is called so what? That's called resistance. Okay. The next thing is you might be able to finish if you had a coach. If you had someone that would give you deadlines, hold you accountable, all that stuff, maybe that would work. Maybe you don't want to pay a coach, so you get an accountability buddy. And you're like, see, I asked for help and that didn't work. Well, that's not why you're not finishing either. Usually you didn't pick the right coach, and the right coach is usually a little more expensive than you want, or you didn't pick the right accountability buddy because they're not holding you to your word. You're choosing people that are actually going to let you off the hook. That's the problem with asking for support from friends and family, because they might let you off the hook. They're not going to hold you to your deadline, gently but firmly. That's still not what's stopping you, though. You've got all this. This all makes sense. Intellectually, you understand this. Philosophically, you understand this. Emotionally, you understand this, right? Intellectually, philosophically, and emotionally, you know. Could be fear of failure, could be fear of success, could be I'm a control freak and I need to know the future and so I'm holding myself back. Could be all these forms of resistance, which are really just excuses. Okay. But what's the experience that's holding you back? The experience that is so subconscious that you're not finishing. And it's very simple. It's that the pain of staying the same is not big enough for you to change. I'm going to say that again. The pain of staying the same is not big enough for you to change. So maybe you're a little bummed out. You're bummed out, you haven't finished something, you haven't finished the book, and you just keep going on. You make excuses. You're bummed out. Someone says, whatever happened to that book? All of a sudden, your life isn't going exactly the way you want it to. We call this refusal of the call in the hero's journey. You're on your own hero's journey, and you're refusing the call. You're a little lethargic. You don't feel so great. Your self-esteem's a little low. You're getting older. You're not really sure what's wrong, but life just seems a little bit off. You know you have this book in you that you've started, or the stories you've started, or the articles you want to write, or the blog you want to start. And it's just not happening. Subconsciously, this is starting to eat you away. It's starting to erode your spirit slowly. And it's insidious. It is so secretive about how it just starts you on a path of disillusion, possibly depression. Possibly you're just not feeling the joy you used to experience. And that's because you're not finishing your book, your article, your blog. You're not getting it out there, whatever the goal is in writing. You might be writing in your journal. You might be editing a chapter here and there. You might be holding yourself in stasis, right? Thinking about it. You're not finishing because the pain of staying the same is not big enough to change yet. And that's a bummer that you've got to wait till you're miserable or, God forbid, dying before, like literally, before you're going to make big changes in your life. So how do we make it so that the pain of staying the same becomes big enough without it actually hurting you? Okay? Because we don't want you to hurt. We don't want bad things to happen just for you to get your book written, or just for you to get your writing project done, or just for you to get your essays or your articles out to the world or your blog in order to make big differences and feel good about your writing again. I don't want you to, trust me, I don't want any big pain here. So what do we have to do to override, right? We want to override the unconscious mind so that the current life you're in actually feels not so great enough that you see the vision and you are moving toward something amazing. So here's what I want you to do. For just a minute, imagine your life as the person you would become when you finish your book, your articles, your blog, whatever the writing project is. You've finished at least the first part, the first book. I have a couple of clients that are writing articles and essays to get them online, and they've finished. Imagine who you would become when you were finished. We become a totally different person when we finish something. I'm going to give you a prompt today. Let's see, where's today's prompt? And it just says, grab something you've started. A chapter, a short story, a poem, an article, etc., and finish it. Make it short, or start and finish something short. So even if it's 500 words, say you're going to do it and finish it. Start it and finish it. Just remember, you can't see what's on the other end of the finish line until you get there. And what's on the other side is always bigger and better and more awesome than you could ever imagine. All right, I hope this was helpful. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.